שלום, אנחנו לומדים מהספר כתבי בעל הסולם, מאמר החרות בעמוד 422, כותרת בית כוחות
Hello, we're studying the Kabbalah for the student, page 388, article The Freedom, the section starting with two forces in the will to receive, attracting force and rejecting force. Selected questions that you send us on Kabbalah TV might be asked during the lesson. Kabbalah for the student, page 388, article The Freedom, two forces in the will to receive, attracting force and rejecting.
To begin with, there's just one force, the giving force, the force of bestowal, and that's the Creator, who created existence from absence, a will to receive, which is the attracting force. And these two forces exist in creation. There's nothing more. And the whole thing in creation is that the Creator wants to bring the creature to his own degree of existence, which is a force of bestowal, a force of love, and that's the Creator's quality. And that's where it wants to take the created being to. And in order to bring the created being to that state, there has to be a system built and a long process, because the creature has to be in all its qualities like the Creator. Meaning, it must not only feel, but also understand and attain all the discernments or aspects of the created, the force that created it. This is really not simple. If we begin to conceive of this notion, it's not even clear how it can happen. But that's basically the aim, the intent of creation, to benefit the created beings. Therefore, the will to receive created existence from absence has to go through many changes in order to achieve that highest point of development, which is being in adhesion with the Creator. So, let's see how it evolves.
Two forces in the will to receive, attracting force and rejecting force. And you need to determine further that we distinguish two forces in that force called the will to receive. One, the attracting force. Two, the rejecting force. The reason is that each body or vessel defined by the will to receive is indeed limited, meaning the quality it will receive and the quantity it will receive. Therefore, all the quantity and quality that are outside its boundaries appear to be against its nature. Hence, it rejects them. Thus, that will to receive, although it is deemed an attracting force, is compelled to become a rejecting force as well.
Anyone who has questions, please, following the text, you can immediately ask and clarify. Read again.
Two forces in the will to receive, the attracting force and the rejecting force. And you need to determine further that we distinguish two forces in that force called the will to receive, called one, the attracting force, two, the rejecting force. The reason is that each body or vessel defined by the will to receive is indeed limited, meaning by the quality it will receive and the quantity it will receive. Therefore, all the quantity and quality that are outside its boundaries appear to be as if against its nature. Hence, it rejects them. Thus, that will to receive, although it is deemed as an attracting force, it's compelled to become a rejecting force as well.
Meaning that the attracting force, the will to receive, in its action also differentiates everything to inner and outer, and the rejecting force that comes out of it by necessity, because by itself it's limited. We can't say what happens in terms of Ein Sof, where there's no attracting force. There's no rejecting force, only the attracting force. But that's only in Malchut of Ein Sof before the Tzimtzum, the restriction. However, in all the other discernments, in all the degrees, in all the states, otherwise, the attracting force, the receiving force, divides everything into two parts. Therefore, the rejecting force is necessarily a result of it. If we're talking about the force of bestowal, there's nothing that rejects in bestowal, and there is in the force of reception, even though it's to receive. But no, the rejecting force comes out of it as well.
What's the reason for it that the force of reception, the will to receive, is also rejecting? Why can't you receive all the discernments outside of it in quantity and quality?
Reception is limited.
Why?
Because it's a desire. I can only receive according to my desire. And even if you say another million here, or something else there, or doesn't matter what, it's still limited. And therefore, there is a limit to its reception, beyond which it rejects. If I, in the ideal way, if I receive, it's a sign that I'm limited. And if I'm limited, it means that I'm about to reject something and not receive into my own boundaries. So the rejecting force, the force of hatred and contrast, is necessarily born and develops in the will to receive. Yes.
And what appears to a person that he would like to receive but is unable to receive?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Because if I want something, then there is something I also don't want to receive. The desire itself already differentiates, whereas the will to bestow takes none of that into account. The object of the will to bestow is not inside the desire, it's outside. I want to bestow onto others. So any others that I have, I can bestow to. And even if I'm limited in bestowal, it doesn't lead to rejection, because I'm actually rejecting my will to receive, but nothing on the outside. Just until I correct myself more.
That's what we talked about yesterday, that he doesn't mind exchanging the highest bestowal with the one of a first campus student.
Right.
Still, there's a difference.
No.
No? Why?
If you, in spirituality, if you cannot be the lowest, then you're not in spirituality at all. You're not in bestowal. You rise up the ladder of bestowing more and more to the Creator because you can bestow, but not because you are not the lowliest, the lowest. Your height of bestowal is only in giving, it's not towards yourself. Me, for myself, no, God forbid, it can't be that way. In spirituality, it's already a klipa, a shell. In no indirect way or any other way, I don't receive anything.
But then I prefer to bestow more?
If he wants it, if he needs it. there's an account in here too, and a masach, and striking, and so forth. If I'm somehow connected to someone, to them when I bestow to the Creator, and my calculation is such that it doesn't start and end in Him, then it's not spirituality. Of course, not in all the degrees, but the more you advance, the more you have to make a qualitative calculation. Yes.
What are the boundaries of the vessel? Can we define it, perhaps? What is the boundary that defines this is where it begins and this is where it ends?
It depends on what kli we're talking about.
The will to receive any vessel. It's always.
Take whatever you have in this world. You have a will to receive, and you'd like to receive some of the things because you have a picture that is painted in front of you that you can enjoy, and you feel it in your boundary, in your home or around you, and then there's a part that you reject, that you don't want. And specifically in the difference between this and that, you feel the boundary. You feel where this is mine and this is not mine. Meaning the will to receive builds as a result of being a will to receive. It builds the rejection, the hatred, etc. It's necessary.
So it turns out that these boundaries are what define the attainment of the light. If there was no boundary, there would be no attainment. There was just...
No. These boundaries are different in bestowal. In bestowal, it's about the other's desire, how much I can bestow to them. It's not in my own desire. When I bestow to others, I have to include myself in their desire to the extent that they are willing and capable and wanting, and then I use myself as the means, meaning the limitation is not about me, it's about the other. Yes.
And when you bestow to the others, where is the pleasure received?
The pleasure is received in your vessels, where you bestow to others. Where are these vessels? In others.
Meaning it's not in you, in your will to receive.
No.
And that's why it's boundless, boundaryless.
How can there be pleasure in your own will to receive? If it's not in order to receive a prize.
What does it mean to receive pleasure in Him? How can you receive pleasure in Him? Where's you? In Him?
Yes.
So it's Him?
No, it's you in Him.
So what is your will to receive?
Your will to receive makes a restriction, masach, and or chozel, screen and returning light. And by that it bestows to others. And where is the pleasure? In the returning light, or chozel. As it says, in Him our heart shall rejoice. Yes, someone wanted there? Yeah.
Well, I didn't get it. How come there's no restriction, no boundary in bestowal?
Why should there be a limitation? Bestow as much as you can. Who can limit you?
I cannot give what I don't have.
The Creator doesn't limit you in bestowal. Everything is built for you to be similar to Him. He bestows in infinity, 100%, and so you try to bestow the same way.
And what do I bestow?
You bestow what you receive from the Creator and bestow to others.
It's not in my desire?
In your desire.
But my desire is limited.
But you're not the powerhouse. You're not the food supply or anything else. You can't. The Creator is the supplier. You only are the conductor. You only add the intention to fulfill the others, for the benefit of others.
There's no limitation because the Creator is not limited?
There's no limitation in the will to bestow because you're using a desire that's outside of you, not your own. Only when you use your desire, you're limited, both in receiving and in bestowing. If you're going to actually bestow to others, then you're not limited. But the others can't receive everything. How much can they receive? True. But I wish to give them everything according to what they want, so I'm not limited. I'm in Ensof. But you gave the baby only 10 grams, let's say. It's only 10 grams. But I gave him infinity because I don't limit myself in giving. What he limits himself because he's limited, that's his aspect. Therefore, even in the littlest degree, I'm in Ensof when I bestow. Yes, Leo.
Can you clarify again what it means that there's no limitation? There's no limitation, there's no boundary, there's no attainment.
Who's limiting?
The other in his desire.
Okay, it's not me.
So if there's no limitation, if there's no boundary, there's no grasp in anything. It has to be resistance. That's what we learn all the time.
Of course we do everything with the will to receive, which is limited, and without the will to receive, we have no tangible feeling. We always feel through boundaries, sure.
That's a question.
But the question is whether I'm limited on the inside or I'm limited by someone who can't receive more in the meantime. So how much he can or cannot receive, that doesn't depend on me. That's on the Creator. Okay? Suddenly we're talking about things that are... Yeah. Yes.
I hope I'll be able to ask it. So it turns out from this excerpt that bestowal and reception are not opposites, but rather two totally different qualities from one another.
True. How are they different?
In simple mind, you say, oh, there's a force of bestow and force of reception. One is the opposite of the other. But here, it turns out that the force of reception contains two opposites, and it's clear that the rejection that exists in the force of reception is not bestowal. I hope I didn't confuse.
You didn't confuse. Perhaps yourself you did.
No. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Correct.
I want to understand about the qualities. Can you explain? What is it, the quality of bestowal that makes it so special?
It takes you out of limitations. You're unlimited. You're not bounded. Even when you're going to bestow to others now, and you have the ability to bestow in a limited way, it's a certain spiritual degree, sure, but to that extent you feel Ensof, infinity. Again, this is, well, there aren't many words here really.
Is there something in our world, before spirituality, that can give us any sensation of bestowal?
In our world, no. Well, there's the mother and baby. Maybe, there's the matter of love, corporeal love that you can deduce from, but I don't see anything else, no. In our world, there is no giving.
Give the example of a baby who gives 10 ounce, even I'm in And so even if he only received 10 ounce,
Right, because my desire is not limited towards him.
it's more than that. When you give to a baby, you feel even better than when you give to two kilos to a greater child,
Right.
because of the attitude. What is the attitude in the world that we're depicting here?
Love, when you're integrated with his desire and you give whatever is good for his desire. But he doesn't want more. He can only receive 10 grams. Great. Fine. You take his capacity of 10 grams, you accept it as an infinite kli. To you, you have fulfilled yourself infinitely. Haven't you seen how a mother is happy when the baby eats a very little dose of something? For her, it's
okay. I'm trying to understand what is the love in the attitude between the vessels. What is love?
Love means that as I fulfill the receptacle of the others, well, it's not like with the baby, but the other was something I despised and hated extremely, far from me. Then by the light that reforms, I transform myself to a giver towards the others. And then the earlier attitude of hatred and distance also becomes a receptacle. And then I can bestow to him from my corrected attitude, which is from one end to the other, from minus to plus. The hatred was transformed to love. This is called love covers all crimes. And by that I fulfill the other, and I actually enjoy in a vessel that has now grown from one end to the other. And that ends up being the middle line, where we include both lines, din, judgment, and rachamim, mercy, together.
And this inversion is
of course, it's nothing. You don't even know how to reach that. You don't know the process, not to mention the implementation. But only following actions, more like as an ox to the burden and a donkey to the load, and then it happens. Chelyabinsk.
Рав, слушая вас, мы понимаем, что вы отдающий. Как нам быть?
Rav, when we hear you, we understand that you're bestowing. How can we be bestowers when we listen to you?
When you hear, you can't be bestowing because you're receiving what I'm giving to you. But in all the rest of the time, besides what you're hearing from me, you should be really planning mutual bestowal. These are the exercises by which we draw the light that reforms. If I don't intend to bestow to my small group, look, you are now, say, 8 people there around the table. That's a force. It's a force. So everyone should think, if he has the ability to maintain the intention to relate to the group like a spaceship, as we said yesterday, or use other examples, by that you draw the light that reforms, and that's our only hope, to be changed, to be corrected. There's nothing else for us to do. This is called the force of the Torah, the light. Torah comes from the word light, or. to draw the light that will give us the quality of bestowal. And by that we opened our field of view. We begin to see a reality that is not limited by how much I can put into my will to receive. In the will to bestow, I begin to see reality beyond the will to receive, above the will to receive. And then I see the spiritual world. And it's all by exercises that we practice in the group. And the light that reforms, that influences us as a result. It's mandatory to advance that way. If you sit and wait, it won't happen. That's why Rabash says, you don't know, you don't understand, start stimulating each other, give examples to each other. Everyone, mechanically, even though you don't want it, if I give the friends some impression that I'm drawn to spirituality, they're impressed by me and they do the same to me, and that's how we advance. And it works from one moment to the next. You don't need to wait for years. You have to just begin right now. And then you'll see how effective it is. And it is effective. Our problem is that we're sitting for years waiting for something to happen without doing what is written clearly that we need to do. I know it from myself. It was the same. Moscow.
Что значит, что группа десятка совершенна? Она может правильно получить? В чем ее совершенство, которое пока скрыто от меня? Спрашивает Дима.
What does it mean that the group, that the 10, is in wholeness? Can it receive from me if it's in wholeness?
עשירייה בשלמות מסוימת, לפי הדרגה שלה נגיד שהגיעה, שהיא הפכה להיות, הם לא רואים את הגופים.
The 10 is in certain wholeness according to its degree. They don't no longer see the bodies. They see the 10 sfirot, their partzuf. In the partzuf, there is a correct connection between the degrees. These degrees became sfirot and have connected into a partzuf, and in the partzuf dwells the common light of Naran Chai, and their source is of Yechida is the creator. The final light, complete light, is the creator. That's called a 10, a complete 10 to a certain degree. And then a will to receive is added. When a will to receive is added, they want to kill each other, hurt each other, they fight with each other, or at least want to. It just depends on whether that 10 is also immersed in other 10s around it. If they're immersed in other 10s around it, then they help them to not erupt all the way and break apart completely. And so, all of us basically hold each other. We don't yet feel it so much, but there is a very strong force field in the world today called Bnei Baruch, which holds a lot of groups together. Still, without that general influence coming from all the groups, we wouldn't hold. Many groups would simply dismantle, would scatter. And that's what happened in the past, when we still didn't have such a connection and a mutual influence over each other. Now we have to reach a state where we actually feel that we're in a certain bubble, all around the world, that we're in this bubble that holds us and guards us. And even if we go through ups and downs and feuds, it's natural. It actually needs to happen. And we're happy that it's happening to us because it's a sign of progress. And thus we help each other, all of us. But in the group, there has to be the work that we learn about regarding the laws of our herut. And then we'll advance quickly. I really hope that we're entering such a phase where both the individual progress in the group and the general progress across our international organization will be mutual. Okay. Questions? Yes.
כשאני רואה את החברים מתוקנים, זה אומר שאני רואה אותם
When I see the friends
במצב
corrected,
העתידי
does it
הפוטנציאלי.
mean that I see them in their future potential state plus the current state where they're not corrected?
I don't know what I'm seeing. I know that if I see them corrected, it's a sign that right now I'm corrected.
אז על מה להעלות עכשיו תפילה באמת?
So what do I pray for?
In this state, only add. Only add. This is a good, beautiful state. You only have to add more efforts to search for the lack that you need in order to ascend. It's like the old man that searches.
And in order to see them in such a state, do I need to have a preceding prayer?
But you don't have a prayer. You mean before that? Before that, sure, you have prayer and search and everything. But if you see them as corrected, beautiful, everything's good, and then you see yourself the same way, then you must add exertion. What exertion? Baal Sulam and Rabash recommend us to take the sources and start digging into them, looking for what else you can add. And then perhaps you'll get light that is not even just reforming light, but inner light. Where does it say that when a person is in the ascent, he should read? It's written somewhere in Shomati. Yeah? Yes. You had something. Same question. Okay. Moscow.
А вот в тексте сейчас, в отрывке, который мы читали, написано, что желание получать, отталкивает количество и качество, которое вне его границ. А вот как это желание получать, оно вообще может что-то чувствовать?
It says that the will to receive rejects that which is outside of its borders, boundaries. The question is, how can the will to receive feel anything outside its boundary? That it's to come out of itself because it's closed within itself.
No, it's impossible that the will to receive wants only what's inside its boundaries. To that extent, it knows what are the boundaries. The desire is a boundary. The will to bestow is also a boundary. It's just the boundaries in the others. When I want to bestow to the others, I have to know what they want and what conditions and so forth. Otherwise, it's not bestowal. I have to integrate with the other's entire desire. I am included in the desire to receive of others, and it becomes my will to bestow. So there are always boundaries, whether it's the will to receive or the will to bestow. There are always boundaries. It's only whether they are inside of me or outside of me. And so in bestowing to others, I don't feel a boundary. The other one limits me, as they cannot receive, they don't want, but I fulfill them with everything I can. So I'm unlimited. Even in the smallest degree of bestowal, I already feel somewhat of Ein Sof. Somewhat. I don't know what it is on a higher degree, because there are different degrees, but if I did it on degree 1 out of 125, when I rise to the second spiritual degree, 2 out of 125, I can't know. I don't see any limitation. To me, it is something broad and expansive that fills all of reality. But that's just ruach of nefesh, let's say. Right, but for me, it's everything. All right, yes, Mushi.
When I do something, seemingly bestow, it doesn't matter, then it's easy to add an intention to it, or to check the intention in order to receive or in order to bestow. How can you do it without an action? How can you bestow without an action?
It depends on what you refer to as an action.
I'm talking about our state. There's a body, there's this life. What does it mean to plan for bestowal, as you said?
If I help a friend with some advice, is that an action?
Yes, then I can attach the intention. Why am I doing it? I want to receive something from him. Why I want to bestow to him so he'll feel good. I can check it, but I have to do something.
You're asking this, can there be an intention without an action?
Yes. Not necessarily physical, but it has to have an action.
Yeah, but
You're given a lesson, as a friend asks. That's an action, and in that you can intend.
so what, that I'm sitting and teaching?
Yes. Although it's true that the intention later is called the action, but
There's always something transmitted from one to another. That's called an action. It's either waves or objects or whatever, but it's something being transmitted from one to another. That's the action. And it could be on the one hand or the other hand. It doesn't matter the direction of the transmission. Now, above the transmission, what's important is what's the intention. So it's always there.
that's what I'm asking. When we go out,
You can't imagine an intention without an action. There's no such thing.
so what kind of action can I do during the day when I don't see the friends? I'm not in contact with them. Where's the intention?
I'm with them on a spaceship. Right? I see that yesterday it was a game. So I'm with them on a spaceship. And I know that moving from the current hill where we are to the next hill is in our power. We make the engine roar using our connection. That's how we move to the next degree. By the power of our unity. That's how the engine works. That's it. What's the problem?
The problem is, it's not clear what is this connection that raises me.
Think that it all depends on you. Depends on you. Behind all the friends, each and every one is the Creator. You have to organize them in your perception in such a way that they're all one, that they're all connected together. There's nothing besides that, outside of that. If you connect them on the inside to one body, then you all move to the higher degree.
What is the action here? What is the action?
The action is that you collect all of them together. That's the action. The intention, in order to reach spirituality. What is spirituality? Bringing contentment through the friends to the Creator. And the Creator is, all in all, the summation of all the friends.
So, during the day to stay in that image that I'm doing.
Yes, all the time. Not once in a while, all the time. I'm always with them in that process. We connect as much, more and more until the Creator appears between us. And that means that we moved to a higher plane. And that's what we do each time. On a higher plane, a more broken Reshimo appears, and we feel that we are scattered, distant, hateful, confused. The world is dark, but gradually we begin to work together again, until we all connect on that plane, and once again, we move forward, rising to the next degree.
Nonetheless, if I see a friend physically, or I call them.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. One thing doesn't bother doesn't prevent the other. That attempt, that form to be all connected together, that form has to live in me. all the time.
That's not clear to me. That's why I'm asking. It's clear if I see Marek and I'm smiling to him, and I'm adding the intention that I smile to him with the intention to raise his mood. Is that not an action?
All of that is an action, sure. These are all actions.
That's easier to me since this
No.
spaceship.
No, don't leave the spaceship. The spaceship is the application where you always have to exist. Other than that, you have physical work.
So it doesn't conflict with one another?
No, it doesn't. Why would it?
So do the action end?
Do both this and that, whatever you can do. Add to that you're smiling at him or do something, or it all joins the same action of your connection. With this, the task. Who? Moscow, okay.
Сегодня дежурные Челябинск, единая виртуальная группа, Реховод, Петах-Тиква, 22-я десятка, Москва, 7-я десятка. Задание дня от единой виртуальной группы. Каждый товарищ составляет для себя такой распорядок дня, соблюдение которого помогает постоянно выполнять самую выгодную работу, вкладывать в группу, преодолевая себя. Еще раз. Каждый товарищ составляет для себя такой распорядок дня, соблюдение которого помогает постоянно выполнять самую выгодную работу, вкладывать в группу, преодолевая себя. Передаем слово Петах-Тикве, 22-й десятки.
Friends, we would like to invite everyone in order to make this schedule happen. We invite all the tens of the world Kli, all the groups, to give the greatness and inspiration and all these efforts and what Mushi asked, all inside the spaceship. We built a spaceship and we're going to send a spreadsheet to the whole world Kli, and every group is invited to take a slot. The day is broken down to 15 minutes, slots of 15 minutes, and you can take a slot and inspire the whole world Kli. So it could be the time of your 10 meeting, it could be a different time to give inspiration to everyone. It could be an entire group, sure. Any friend in the world Kli can always enter that Zoom and be inspired by the friends. So again, we'll send an email with a link to a Zoom and also a spreadsheet where everyone can take a slot and just use whatever meeting that you're doing among your 10, just do it on the Zoom and inspire the whole world Kli. L'chaim, friends.
Announcements. The World Gathering of Friends. Tonight at 6:45 Israel time, we invite everyone to connect together in the World Yeshivat Chaverim. Thank you to our TV viewers. Receiving life as a gift. Kabbalah La'am campus is happy to invite you to a free intro lecture on the wisdom of Kabbalah throughout Israel. The participation is free with registration in advance on kab.co.il or 700-509-209. Dear friends, the TENS committee of the World Kli invites anyone without a 10 to email congress.10@gmail.com in any language, and we'll make sure you connect to a 10. Thank you and have a good day.
Come on, people, gather round above this time and space. Come on, people, gather round. Let's find a higher place. Come on, people, gather round. The circle awaits. Come on, people, gather round. Put a smile on your face. Clear your senses, free your mind. Your heart will keep the beat. Let's all sing together. So get up on your feet. Completing the circle, come my way. Completing the circle, unite and play. Completing the circle, let the love shine night and day. Completing the circle, come my way. Completing the circle, unite and play. Completing the circle, let the love shine night and day. Come on people, gather round above this time and space. Come on people, gather round, let's find a higher place. Come on people, gather round, the circle awaits. Come on people, gather round, a smile on your face. Clear your senses, free your mind. Your heart will keep the beat. Let's all sing together. So get up on your feet. Completing the circle, come my way. Completing the circle, unite and play. Completing the circle, let the love shine.